Before superheroes ruled the screen, one woman stopped the world with nothing but the twitch of her nose. Bewitched wasn't just a show, it was a spell that lasted decades. But behind the magic, the cast lived stories no script could contain. Here's what really happened to them. Samantha Stevens, the good-natured witch determined to blend into ordinary life, was brought to life by Elizabeth Montgomery. Born on April 15, 1933 in Hollywood, California, her effortless grace and razor-sharp comic timing turned Samantha into a television icon, someone who could juggle affection, mischief, and restraint all in a single scene. As her career progressed, she tackled weightier dramatic material, proving her abilities extended far beyond the supernatural. Montgomery passed away on May 18, 1995, at the age of 62, leaving behind a groundbreaking legacy that continues to glow in every rerun. Darrin Stevens, a man who wanted nothing more than a spell-free household, was first played by Dick York. Born on September 4, 1928 in Fort Wayne, Indiana, he brought an everyman sincerity and perfectly calibrated frustration to the role, making the couple's marriage feel genuinely grounded even when magic was flying all around. Persistent back problems ultimately forced his departure from the show in 1969. In his later years, he redirected his energy toward charitable causes. York died on February 20, 1992, at 63. Darrin Stevens, when Dick York stepped away, was carried forward by Dick Sargent starting in 1969. Born on April 19, 1930, in Carmel, California, he preserved Darrin's signature blend of exasperation and genuine devotion while bringing a slightly breezier quality to the character. Off-screen, he became a meaningful voice in the LGBTQ+ community after publicly coming out in 1991. Sargent died on July 8, 1994, at 64. Tabitha Stevens, Samantha and Darrin's daughter, whose innocent magical experiments kept the household constantly on edge, was played primarily by Erin Murphy. Born on June 17, 1964, in Encino, California, she stepped into the role as a toddler, sharing her earliest episodes alongside her twin sister Diane. Tabitha's wide-eyed spells added a layer of sweetness to the chaos. As of 2026, Murphy is 61 years old and remains a warm, active presence at fan gatherings celebrating the show's enduring charm. Endora, Samantha's theatrical and lethally witty mother, was portrayed by Agnes Moorehead. Born on December 6, 1900 in Clinton, Massachusetts, she wielded Endora's biting sarcasm and dramatic excess as weapons of pure comedy. Yet beneath all the grandstanding, a fierce protectiveness toward her daughter kept the character deeply human. Her commanding presence elevated every scene she inhabited. Moorehead died on April 30, 1974, at 73, celebrated as one of the most unforgettable maternal figures in television history. Larry Tate, Darrin's opportunistic boss at McMahon and Tate, was played by David White. Born on April 4, 1916, in Denver, Colorado, he made Larry an irresistibly entertaining mix of charm, moral flexibility, and desperate client-pleasing, all while bizarre events exploded around him with alarming regularity. His reactions became a comedic anchor for the series. White died on November 27, 1990, at 74, leaving behind a standout legacy in television comedy. Abner Kravitz, the perpetually bewildered neighbor who always sensed that something on the block was deeply wrong, was brought to life by George Tobias. Born on July 14, 1901 in New York City, he layered Abner with genuine warmth and exhausted humor, particularly when set against Gladys's relentless accusations. His steady, grounded reactions gave the show's neighborhood scenes a sense of lived-in reality. Tobias died on February 8, 1980, at 78, remembered fondly as a vital piece of the show's comic machinery. Louise Tate, Larry's sweet-natured and somewhat oblivious wife, was portrayed by Casey Rogers. Born on December 15, 1925, in Chicago, Illinois, she offered a gentle counterpoint to her husband's scheming, frequently getting pulled into impossibly strange situations without ever grasping the real reason why. Rogers made her warmth feel completely natural. She died on July 6, 2006, at 80, leaving behind one of the show's most quietly endearing supporting performances. Gladys Kravitz, the hysterical neighbor absolutely certain Samantha was a witch, was first played by Alice Pierce. Born on October 16, 1917, in New York City, she established the entire blueprint for the character: frantic conviction, comedic paranoia, and that unmistakable energy of someone who knows exactly what they saw and refuses to back down. Her chemistry with George Tobias made the neighbor's subplot feel indispensable. Pierce died on March 3, 1966, at just 48, following a battle with ovarian cancer, and the show quietly bore the weight of her absence for years afterward. Gladys Kravitz, when Sandra Gould took over the role in 1966, became a whirlwind of alarm, suspicion, and frantic energy. Born on July 23, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York, Gould made the character entirely her own, her explosive reactions becoming iconic even as every witness around her refused to believe a word she said. Gould died on July 20, 1999, at 77, celebrated as a fan favorite of the series. Aunt Clara, the lovable and accident-prone witch, was portrayed by Marion Lorne. Born on August 12, 1883, in West Newton, Massachusetts, she filled the role with genuine sweetness. Clara's spells may have gone sideways almost every time, but her heart was always in exactly the right place. She was responsible for the series' most tender moments of laughter. Lorne died on May 9, 1968, at 84, and her absence in the show's later seasons left a noticeable gentleness missing from the screen. Dr. Bombay, the wonderfully eccentric witch doctor, was played by Bernard Fox. Born on May 11, 1927, in Port Talbot, Wales, he turned every entrance into a full comic event, arriving with unearned confidence and prescribing magical remedies that rarely inspired much trust. Audiences adored him precisely because he treated the most outlandish situations with complete seriousness. Fox died on December 14, 2016, at 89, honored for this beloved role and a wide-ranging television career. Phyllis Stevens, Darrin's sharp and perpetually disapproving mother, was portrayed by Mabel Albertson. Born on May 24, 1901, in Revere, Massachusetts, she generated family tension through clipped judgments and thinly veiled criticism, mining comedy from the art of polite cruelty. Albertson's timing made each cutting remark land with precision. She died on March 28, 1982, at 80, leaving behind one of television's finest portraits of a mother-in-law who simply never, ever approves. Esmeralda, the well-meaning but chronically accident-prone witch, was played by Alice Ghostly. Born on August 14, 1923, in Eve, Missouri, she made Esmeralda sweet-natured, perpetually anxious, and so genuinely well-intentioned that even her most spectacular magical disasters felt charming rather than irritating. She injected real warmth into the show's later seasons and left a distinct mark on the series. Ghostly died on September 21, 2007, at 84, remembered as a true scene-stealing talent. Maurice, Samantha's formidably powerful and pleasantly pompous father was portrayed by Maurice Evans. Born on June 3, 1901, in Dorchester, England, he gave Maurice an old-world authority and a resonant voice that made even the mildest complaint sound like a royal proclamation. He and Darrin clashed constantly, yet his deep affection for Samantha was never in doubt, even when his disapproval was loudest. Evans died on March 12, 1989, at 87, with a distinguished legacy spanning theater, film, and television. Uncle Arthur, the incorrigible warlock and dedicated troublemaker, was played by Paul Lynde. Born on June 13, 1926, in Mount Vernon, Ohio, his razor-edged delivery and impeccable timing made Arthur an immediate fan sensation, unleashing mayhem with a grin and a sideways glance that audiences waited for episode after episode. Lynde died on January 10, 1982, at 55, but Uncle Arthur endures as one of the show's most explosively funny recurring presences. Bewitched still carries the warmth of comfort viewing, but looking back with fresh eyes reveals something bittersweet beneath all the sparkle. Some of its stars were given long, full lives. Others were taken far too soon. Yet every single performance still crackles with life in every episode. If this brought you back to those enchanted afternoons, go ahead and like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us which character you could never quite forget.